so we did police brutality, big issue, and Matt Maroons and Sean and myself.
Alright, so let's introduce the problem. So, right now, police brutality and racism have plagued Americans' communities and has been able to go unchecked due to a laissez-faire government involvement. Laissez-faire meaning like not enough involvement at all. The problem can be fully reformed with an encompassing 5-point plan of action that Sean and I have developed, and we're going to talk about that later in the presentation. So let me also talk about what's going on. So police departments are becoming more and more corrupt. It's not every single police officer. It's what you would call a bad apple, in which case bad apples with dangerous records can hop from department to department with no trouble whatsoever, even after things like not willing to take a drug test, committing acts of violence, and then committing acts of violence in another department. Tragic cases of police violence and brutality are on the rise because of this. Good officers who try to report bad officers get no backup in dangerous situations, and other officers try to punish these good apples by by labeling them as rats, I should say. Prosecutors aren't charging officers who commit acts of violence. Police officers haven't been trained to to purge their records. Police departments are not reporting incidents to the FBI as a result of these purge records. Police officers spend more time training how to use a gun than how to learn to defuse situations. Some students even have to take school classes to learn how to interact with the police. And now certain police departments have tasers, automatic rifles, and even tanks. And believe me, I don't think police officers need tanks. Trust in the police is at an all-time low among the American people, and it's for a good reason. And just to show that we are not making this up, we took the liberty of using somebody else's work. This is John Oliver. He's on HBO last week tonight, and he did a segment on police brutality. And in this video that we're going to show you, he, just to prove we're not making this up, he cited the FBI director saying they don't know how many shootings there have been this year by police. The story of a detective who was labeled a rat, the chief police officer in Mesa, Arizona, telling officers to purge their files, and an officer resigning over a drug test. So let me just write these numbers down. 4, 5, 17, 8, 40, and 9. I'm not going to show the entire video for the reason that it's 20 minutes, and also because there are a lot of F-bombs, so I'm just going to skip to the parts that matter. Do we have audio?
Yeah, you just gotta turn it up.
Let's go to
sold or how many cases of the flu walked into an emergency room, and I cannot tell you how many people were shot by police in the United States last month, last year, or anything about the demographics.
That is the director of the FBI. And there are more than 18,000 departments, and none of them can seem to tell what's going on. And then 710.
I thought Harry Connick Jr. ate the dolphin at the end of the first one. I don't know for sure, I haven't seen it, but no one has.
Nope. Almost there. Alright.
Reported 2 fellow officers for alleged excessive force and was labelled a rat, with one colleague leaving pictures of cheese on his desk, which is almost charming, until you learn how far some others went.
He found himself cut off. He says he didn't get backup in dangerous situations. Someone even left a dead rat on his windshield.
It was like their way of telling me, you don't belong here. This is what we think of you.
Ouch.
Alright. Moving on.
I don't want anybody to have to relive a problem that's already been adjudicated, that they've already been disciplined for, that has already seen scrutiny in the public eye. So purge your files according to policy. Make sure that the things that you don't want in there aren't in there.
That seems wrong.
It is wrong. And then one more clip, and then we get back to normal.
Years on the job, working for 9 different departments, 3 of them in just 1 year, and in one case, he left in spectacular fashion.
Deputies believe Yarborough's driving ability was compromised, and they said they discovered a half-empty bottle of rye whiskey and a baggie of assorted pills in his patrol cruiser. According to the state records, Yarborough said, "I'm not taking no drug tests. I guess I'll resign."
Holy!
And that is that.
So basically, the opposition, for the most part, people are in agreement that police brutality is an issue, but those who defend officers basically, many believe that individuals who are following the law wouldn't be treated this way. So a lot of people are saying, like, if they weren't committing this crime, or if they weren't committing crimes and doing bad things in the society, they wouldn't be treated again so violently. But this kind of goes against the basic value in America, that it goes against cruel or unusual punishment, because the violence against these citizens aren't equal to the crime, as we see in many cases. And also there's the argument of colored law, and basically colored law means that government officials in some cases are justified in doing acts even if they go against the laws. So basically, police violence is justified by the fact that they have police status.
And this is, alright, there we go. So how did we try to fix this before? To be honest, we really didn't try to fix this before, because nobody really knew about the problem with police corruption, police brutality, and the inaccountability of police. So before this year, we only really made things worse. We gave police more riot gear, we gave them tanks, we gave them automatic weapons, and let's be honest, they really don't need these things if their job is to serve. It's not like we have a homegrown army that we need.
Apart from this, we brought a lot of attention to this issue through social media. Before like recent years, police brutality didn't seem to be as big a problem, but this is simply because there's a lack of awareness. Now we have videos, we have social media for mass and fast communication, and there's been a lot of hashtags for the different incidents. Some examples are hashtag Mike Brown, hashtag Tamir Rice, hashtag Eric Garner, and these are all cases, all people who have been victims of police brutality, and then also hashtag Ferguson, which is a place where this was happening. It's a big issue.
It's one place where not so peaceful process.
Also, the group known as Black Lives Matters was created to protest police brutality and bring about reform. They're a big part of the media as well, and protesting this. And there's been peaceful and violent protests. Those kind of in charge of police for Black Lives Matter have been trying to promote peaceful protest by following Martin Luther King and his example. But there have been violent protests. For example, in Dallas, they were conducting peaceful protests, but then there were police shootings by an individual who kind of had enough of this police brutality.
The main demand from the Black Lives Matter groups and most protesters in general is that the police be held accountable for their actions. With police purging their files, nobody can be held accountable for their actions. The FBI doesn't know how many people are being shot, and we have this mess right now that's called police brutality. So our policing reform plan is a simple 5-step plan. Step 1, eliminate corruption within police departments. Step 2, increase department transparency. Step 3, stop judicial protection. And Step 4, fix the employment process. And then finally, Step 5, improve police training. So Step 1, to eliminate the internal corruption, is to prohibit police from purging their files and records, because that destroys the connection between the 18,000 police departments we have in the United States and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is supposed to maintain some kind of order over them.
We also have to employ checks and balances on the police. The police are part of the executive branch, and there can be checks from both of the other branches. So first off, Congress, the legislative branch, needs to pass laws that halt abuses of power in the police department. So by employing our 5-point plan, we can hope that through the Congress we can check the police. And also the judicial branch, the judges need to hold the police accountable for their actions just as they would any normal civilian.
Alright, so step 2 is to make departments more transparent. So I think we should require police departments to give regular incident reports to the FBI. Do not allow police officers to purge their file and enact consequences for doing so. Require them to release incident footage, so body cam footage, dash cam footage.
So basically these two footages would be more official and credible than the videos we see in social media and
all of that
spectator videos.
And all of them should go on file. Step 3 is to stop judicial protection. So we have to separate direct connections between prosecutors and the police. And as you might know, police and prosecutors work on a daily basis to arrest people with warrants, to go after felons and things like that. And the prosecutors feed the police information. But when the police do something wrong, it's really awkward for the prosecutors to go back and turn on this person they work on or work with. So the idea is to separate this connection. So we're saying maybe create an internal department within these police departments that handles evidence, that handles warrants, that handles felony claims, and distributes them to police officers rather than the prosecutors themselves. This makes prosecutors unbiased when they go to report a police officer who may have done something wrong.
We already see this in normal cases in normal courts. Like, if you have a normal civilian, obviously you wouldn't have someone with a relationship with a person being accused.
Alright, so then step 4 is to fix the employment process. So what we've noticed is that a lot of police officers are what they call, in the John Oliver video, gypsy cops. They bounce around, they don't have a standard department, and that's because they can't find like a stable job in one department for one reason or another, whether it be failing a drug test, whether it be the possibility of failing a drug test, whether it be records of violence in the past, and etc. So what we need to do is we need to improve officer-to-community relationship from the get-go. So at least 50% of a certain community's police force must be born and raised in the said community. And outside officers must have credentials from the community. So, and then we need to enact strict gun control measures on police officers. So gun control screening should be more strict for police. There's no reason for police officers in, say, Morristown, New Jersey, or Boise, Idaho, or anywhere to have AR-15s. And more extensive background checks and evaluations need to be done.
Just as you would with any civilian.
Yeah. And then finally, we need to improve police training. So in Finland and other places, police brutality has been on the decline because police have had 3-year training programs. In America, our training program is less than a year. And it's mainly involved in like something like 16 hours per week of situation training. And then it is 56 hours of firearm training, which is strange. They spend more time learning how to use a firearm than how to defuse a standard situation. And so as a result of this, we think a 2 to 3 year course on situations with increased work in situations, handling a gun and shooting and non-shooting situations would be a very big improvement. So it also takes more time to train to be any one of these 2 careers, so a barber or a cosmetologist. It takes more time to be a barber or a cosmetologist than it does to be a police officer. Yeah, I can cover that. So that is the plan.
So basically, our conclusion for this, an overview of this whole project is, or issue is, that police brutality is a very apparent problem in our society, and this is because it's not been addressed by the government because of a lack of transparency on the issue. Alright, so basically, like, yeah, lack of transparency, judicial protection, corruption in the police department, not stimulated internally by a lack of proper training and employment process.
And like we said with the whole bad apple thing, the saying isn't, oh yeah, so we have bad apples in police departments. The saying is, bad apples spoil the barrel, and that's exactly what we're seeing in police departments. So by enacting our plan, we think we can stop these bad apples from running for their